Headlines with St. Patrick's Day coming up tomorrow. We are talking about alcohol consumption and what you need to know ahead of one of the biggest alcohol-facing holidays. Joining us is Dr. Stephen Holt, Yale Medicine Addiction Medicine physician and Associate Professor of Medicine at Yale School of Medicine. Clearly, your expertise is medicine. Good morning to you, doctor, and thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
All right, so let's start with this. Recent research from Yale is giving us a new reason to think about how much alcohol we drink. What can you tell us about this research?
Yeah, this research was performed here at Yale, and it was by some neuroscience researchers here, and they effectively looked at some specific neurochemical changes that we see in folks who are consuming too much alcohol consistently. In many ways, we've known this for decades. We know that alcohol has significant effects on the brain, but this particular research was looking at the amount of connections that each brain cell or neuron has when somebody drinks alcohol. And it's sort of like losing contacts in your cell phone. Like you just have fewer and fewer people for each neuron to communicate with, and that's going to impair cognition.
Yeah, and are those effects that will be felt in both the short term or the long term?
Yeah, so in the short term, I think we all know that when one drinks alcohol, we're, thinking a little bit less clearly depending upon how much one drinks, and that's sort of an acute effect. But over time, alcohol is effectively a neurotoxin. It is a poison to brain cells when used chronically, and so those changes are more permanent, or at least will persist for a long time.
Okay, doctor, good to know. So I want to ask you, St. Patty's Day is tomorrow, of course. How much alcohol is too much? And what kinds of medication are available for those who want to stop problem drinking, as we call it?
Yeah, there's lots of different terms for that: problem drinking, harmful drinking, at-risk drinking, etc. There are some specific limits that have been suggested, more than 4 drinks for a man in one sitting, more than 3 drinks for a woman in one sitting, has certainly been described, though there's a lot of evidence that suggests that any amount of alcohol can be problematic. As I said, it is effectively a poison. One of the metabolites of alcohol, acetaldehyde, is really what drives a lot of the toxicity in our liver, in our bones, in our heart, in our brain, etc. And it doesn't take a lot for that poison to start to cause damage. But as you alluded to, there's a lot of medications, and perhaps the two most notorious are Antabuse, which is one where if you're taking that medicine every day and you drink alcohol, you will get sick within minutes. It's sort of like having an instant hangover. So that's Antabuse, which can be great for folks who really just don't want to touch alcohol the whole day, or don't want to touch alcohol for some long stretch of time. And then naltrexone is a medicine which, if you take it, sort of like you could think of it as a pill in the pocket. You take it before you go out, and since it decreases the pleasurable effects of drinking, you're going to find that you just drink less than you otherwise would have. So those are 2 options.
I think a lot of people didn't even know that those medications existed, so I'm glad that you're bringing this to light. Now, you were quoted in the New York Times recently talking about why alcohol makes us emotional. We are running out of time here, but can you quickly talk about that? I think a lot of us are curious.
Yeah, so simply stated, we know that alcohol has many effects on the brain. It does trigger the release of dopamine, which is that feel-good hormone that makes people, want to do something again. So it is causing some pleasurable effects. But on the flip side, the next day, now that that neurotoxin is still in circulation, that can cause people to feel pretty unwell, anxious, depressed, etc.
Okay, Dr. Stephen Holt, we thank you so much for coming on the show this morning. Appreciate all of this information.
Thanks.